We're on the roof of the Ralston, which is 1325 Ralston Street, off of Davie between Seymour and Granville.
It's off of Drake.
Off of Drake.
Hooked on a feeling. I'm high on it.
Welcome to the McInnes Marketing Minute, guys, on another rooftop.
Different rooftop.
Different rooftop though. Just as beautiful view, if not better.
Fireworks view from this rooftop.
Today we're talking about selling in the spring versus the fall. Always an ongoing battle. It's been going for eons. It's like Autobots versus Decepticons.
Transformers.
Horrible reference. Most people think that the spring is a better time to sell, and I think that's very market dependent. And I think what we're going to talk about now is going to kind of elaborate a bit more on that.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a fad as well, right? I mean, it's people say that, but that's not always the case, right? And we'll go into some details as to show you as to why you shouldn't be basing on when you sell on a gamble, because it really is a gamble, and you should be more focused on market.
Yeah, a lot of people that we find say, oh, we're just going to wait till spring because spring's always better, which isn't necessarily the case. If you look at the statistics, and especially in the climate of the market right now, I don't personally believe that that's going to be of benefit to anyone, but
basically, the long and short of it is, especially right now, if you're holding off of selling your home in the hope that spring is going to be a better time for you, you're watching equity leave that door.
Missed and it's gone.
It should be market dependent, because why is spring better? Why is fall better? Like, if it all completely depends on the market. It really does.
And I think that people are, again, to Ben's point earlier, as the fad of selling in spring. In theory, kids are, I guess, off of school or wherever in spring you're looking at, spring break, or coming back. The weather's a bit nicer, and all those things are factual, yes, but the market trend itself, at this point, even if it does pick up as the market is slowly softening, if it does pick up, it's going to be listing numbers that pick up. So if you're trying to list in spring, it's just going to be more flooded with options for the people buying in spring, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, look at it this way, right? So spring this year, when you compare it to fall this year, spring was a better time to sell because that was when the market downturn had started. It wasn't in full effect. Now we're in the full downturn, as seen by, if you watch last week's podcast, we've dropped in a year $300,000
in Yaletown.
In Yaletown on average prices. But then where we are now, if you're looking to sell in spring, bearing in mind there's no economic factors in place or nothing that's suggesting the market is going to bounce back up, you're gambling to, at best, stabilize, to at best be at where we're at now, because it's not going to go up in that point unless something drastic in the world happens, but
which we of course don't have any foresight for now. But what we do know is that buyers are waiting. If anyone's listed right now, they know, unless you're priced ultra sharply, you're trying to get under the market right now to get attention. And as you know, if you're listed right now and you are not in that pricing circumstance, that buyers may be coming into your property, but they're coming and leaving, and a lot of listings are not getting the attention by way of offers in any regard.
Yeah, and I think we've had a couple of people say to us, oh, I think we're going to wait till the spring because I live by the beach, and it's nice at that point. And it's like people already, like, every day of the year, people know that you live by a beach, so basing it off of that is just a sure way to kind of shoot yourself in the foot. And the way the market is now, every day that you wait, you are losing money.
Yeah, and the buyers, of course, as we all know, have the leverage right now, and they're just going out and they may be touring and watching, but days on market of the listings are mounting, and buyers are waiting for that because they can. So as we said before, we've got a listing in Kits right now, and the amount of competition is huge and growing by the day. Sales are definitely not growing by the day, so buyers know that and are watching and waiting, and you're just, by putting it off to spring, you're just adding another whatever that is, 120 days to your days on market.
Yeah, so I mean, and we did a podcast a couple of weeks ago which spoke about the knock-on effects of a downturn market, and if we follow suit to all of the other downturns in real estate that we've seen here in Vancouver, which we are following every other trajectory that we've done, is that first year after that downturn really takes effect, so this will be 2019, home prices drop considerably. So I mean, we're not talking like, you know, you could potentially miss out on $5,000-$10,000 like this. If we follow suit, there's a lot of money on the table here.
Yeah, and what he means by that is that if the downturn started in 2018, people try their listings and don't get their pricing, or we're still seeing that, people listing at prices that are pre-market adjustment. And then when they decide they actually have to sell and they start taking prices that they can get from buyers, that's going to be, again, next year. The people that are kind of dabbling at unrealistic list prices now, if they do have to or really want to sell, they're going to come on next year, and then they're actually going to sell, and that's when the market is going to show prices having significantly dropped, because there's actually going to be a lot more sales taking place next year than there are this year.
Yeah, and a real life example of that is, so we know of a building right now, and there are a number of units in a building which are currently on the market, typically in that late 600s to early 700,000s. There's not a lot of movement on it at all. Things are being on market for a while. People are sticking at those sort of prices and maybe $10,000, $15,000 increments. There's been one unit which has sold in the last 3, 4, possibly even 5 months there, and it's just sold for just under $600,000. And so when those type of sales happen, everyone else is going to look at these other units and say, well, this one sold for this, why is this so much? And then you're forced to reduce your price.
Yeah, and they're all comparable units, and it's all relative. So someone's inevitably going to sell, and that's going to set the pace, or the trend, I should say, of the building and those comparables lower, and then it's going to follow suit.
But that's the difference. Everyone is like high 600,000s. The majority are in that, and we're talking like double digits amount of people are in that high 600,000s. But that one person making that sale is going to have a huge knock-on effect.
Yeah,
which it clearly has.
So you need to be that one sale.
So guys, I think to round off, don't wait until spring or the fall. You need to do it when it is right for you. If that's the case, you need to sell in the next kind of year, possibly 2. Our advice to you is to do it as quickly as possible, otherwise you could be bleeding money out of the back door. You should always focus your time to sell on your own personal situation along with the market as well, and that's going to be more reliable factors.
Yeah, and it has to be exactly like Ben said, make more sense to you. And with the amount of money that's on the table with these property prices now, it just doesn't make sense to gamble and hope that a spring market is going to, for some reason, shoot up with activity and demand from buyers, and urgency is going to change. Because at this point, there's no catalyst whatsoever out there that's going to make that decision. So the buyers are directing the ship here.
Damn right.
That's it.
With that, we are out, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you. If you got any questions, comments, put them below, please and thank you. Subscribe.
Hooked on a feeling.